Boom! The entire field was set ablaze. 1 in a million chance it's gonna be found anywhere. There goes my coffee. Hi, my name is Erik, and this is Jewelry Simplified. Today we're gonna be talking about Tanzanite. Tanzanite looks like this, and this, and this. So of course you're gonna find it in all the different kinds of jewelry, but where does Tanzanite come from and what is Tanzanite? So I'm gonna try to explain it everything in about 5 minutes-ish. So Tanzanite was found in Tanzania, that's where the name comes from, in 1967. It's found only in one place in the world, and there's 1 in a million chance it's gonna be found anywhere else. The story how it was found is actually quite interesting. 1967, there was a local tribe of Maasai who were using the local grasslands as their pastures for their cattle. And throughout the years, they were using those lands, and there were these brownish stones lying everywhere on the ground, and nobody really paid any attention to them. So in 1967, there was a huge thunderstorm, and boom, during that thunderstorm, the entire field was set ablaze. A couple of days later, when the fire died down, the local tribe came with their livestock, and they found these beautiful violet bluish stones lying everywhere on the ground. You can even see the lights that I have behind me kind of correspond with the theme. Interesting, right? Anyway, they started picking up the stones, and they basically getting them as a good luck charm stone. They were giving them to expecting mothers, and later on, this became also a stone called as the stone of motherhood. But a little bit on that later. Jumping ahead a little bit, I need to explain one thing, because there's a lot of different stories, especially if you've been dealing with Tanzanite before, that sometimes you might hear like, well, this is the original Tanzanite, like that's my expression. Well, you're gonna find these stories that sometimes when you're shopping for Tanzanite, somebody's gonna tell you, well, this one is absolutely natural, there's no heat applied to it, look at the stunning color. Not exactly how it works. Let me explain. So every single Tanzanite is heated, not heat treated, heated. Here's the difference. Heat treatment is when you basically have the stone at almost a melting temperature for days, which changes the entire chemical structure, and usually that's done to hide imperfections and so on and so on and so forth. Heated is a little bit different. Every single Tanzanite is heated to get its natural beauty out. This is exactly how it was found. When there was a thunderstorm and the entire field was set ablaze, the fire brought out the natural beauty of Tanzanite, and this is where you're gonna get the stunning bluish violet color playing with it. Sidetracking a little bit, that's why it's called the trichroic gemstone. Trichroic, 3. The reason for it is basically in practically every single Tanzanite of high grade, you're gonna find 3 different colors. A little bit of blue, a little bit of violet, and this burgundy red somewhere on the inside. So how did we get it on the market? There was a local prospector called Manuel de Souza, and I'm gonna jump a little bit. Long story short, the stone ended in the hands of Mr. Hyman Saul, the vice president of Saks Fifth Avenue. He got this gemstone, and in the beginning they really didn't know what it was. They thought it was a different kind of sapphire, or some thought it was a different kind of peridot. There was a lot of confusion about it. But since it was on the Saks Fifth Avenue, they gave it to the GIA, Gemological Institute of America, to actually examine the stone. And they found it's a brand new gemstone, which wasn't found anywhere before that. Theoretically speaking, the real name is zoisite, or blue zoisite. That's the chemical structure, that's the stone, that's all the different jargons, all the different words and behind it. But basically when they look at the stone and call it a blue zoisite, it doesn't really sound sexy, I know. Because you're not going to be walking around with your gemstone and like, wow, look, this is a blue zoisite. One of the first companies who decided that this is really something interesting, and you might have heard about this small company called Tiffany. Yeah, of course I'm kidding. Everybody knows about Tiffany. But Tiffany was the first one who took this gemstone and gave it the name Tanzanite. In the beginning, the price of the Tanzanite wasn't really expensive. It wasn't really much. The reason for it, they thought they're gonna find it somewhere else in the world. And from 1967 until nowadays, they still haven't found any other mines. It kind of says a lot. So after they found that this is a really unique gemstone, the prices started growing, and they've been growing ever since. What is the big difference behind the price of Tanzanite and how it's mined? Because you might have seen the diamond mines, they look like this. The difference is that Tanzanite still, until nowadays, with all the access to heavy equipment, it's still done with hand tools and elbow grease. The reason for it is because Tanzanite is found in a host stone, which is graphite, which is very soft, and you cannot really use heavy machinery to get it. Now, sometimes when you look at the Tanzanite, you're gonna find a little bit more of the bluish color or a little bit more of the violetish color. And everybody is asking which color should you choose? Well, in the end, it doesn't really matter. It all depends on you. If you like more of the blue, go for the blue. If you like more of the violet, go for the violet. Sometimes you're gonna see the tendency of the price for the blue color is gonna be a little bit higher. The reason for it is the cut. So if you cut with the grain, you're gonna get more of the violetish hue. You're gonna get more of the violetish hue with it. If you're gonna cut across the grain, this is where you're gonna get a little bit more of the bluish tint. But when you cut across the grain, of course, you're gonna get more waste because you're cutting across the grain. And this is where you're gonna find more of the violetish ones on the market because it's easier to cut. But in the end, the price difference is very slim. So how Tanzanite is graded, I'm not gonna go really into depth of it. Please have a look at this. This is just one of the ways to determine the value and quality of the Tanzanite, but long story short, it usually goes like this. The more deep and saturated the color of the Tanzanite is, the more valuable it is. Simple. Now, what is really exciting, Tanzanite is really a universal birthstone. Why is it important? Well, because it became an official birthstone of December in 2002. And there wasn't a change in the birthstone calendar since 1912. So think about it. Tanzanite was the first stone to change the birthstone calendar for such a long time. It is amazing. It really is. Now, just a couple of quick tips about the Tanzanite. Tanzanite is 6.5, around 7 on the Mach scale. So that was basically the scale of hardness. What it means is it's quite durable. You can wear it, but at the same time, it's not indestructible and nothing is. But at the same time, it's really the difference between diamonds and Tanzanite, for example. Just to give you an idea and a comparison, your teeth are number 5. So how often do you scratch your teeth when you're eating with the utensils and everything else? Hopefully not a lot. Can it get scratched? Yes, it can. But at the same time, you can also polish the gemstone, which is great. It's a little bit, I like to compare it with the Mercedes-Benz, for example. So Mercedes-Benz is not really impervious to damage, but if you crash it into a pole, oh boy. Take care of your jewelry, take care of all your gemstones, and in the end, everything is gonna be fine. This was Erik with the Jewelry Simplified. I hope you learned something new, but at the same time, if you have any questions, just let us know because there's gonna be a lot of seminars about your favorite gemstones coming up really soon. Enjoy, have a look at the collection. Maybe you're gonna find something that you love. See ya!